The Odyssey Circe scene breakdown. Every hidden detail explained. Spoiler warning before we begin. This video contains major spoilers for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, including the mysterious Circe sequence, hidden mythology references, visual symbolism, and several details many viewers completely missed. If you haven't seen the movie yet and want to experience these moments for yourself, this is your spoiler warning. With that said, let's get started. If there is one scene in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey that has left audiences completely mesmerized, it's the arrival at Circe's island. At first, it feels peaceful, beautiful, almost magical. After surviving storms, battles, and years of endless suffering, Odysseus and his exhausted crew finally discover what appears to be paradise. A quiet island, lush forests, crystal clear waters, a magnificent palace standing alone in the wilderness. But this isn't paradise. It's a trap. And by the time Odysseus realizes what's happening, several of his men have already disappeared. The Circe sequence isn't just another stop on Odysseus' journey. It's one of the most psychologically complex chapters in the entire story. Because unlike the Cyclops or the Sirens, Circe doesn't defeat people through strength. She defeats them through temptation. And Christopher Nolan fills this entire sequence with hidden details that many viewers miss on their first watch. Let's break them all down. The very first hidden detail appears the moment Odysseus reaches the island. Notice how the environment suddenly changes. Throughout the movie, Nolan uses cold colors, stormy skies, and harsh landscapes to represent Odysseus's painful journey home. But the moment Circe's island appears, everything becomes warmer. Golden sunlight, calm winds, rich green forests, soft music. For the first time in years, Odysseus isn't surrounded by danger, or at least that's what the movie wants him to believe. This dramatic color shift isn't accidental. It's Nolan visually telling us that temptation rarely looks dangerous. It looks comforting. The next hidden detail is the palace itself. Unlike the massive kingdoms we've seen earlier, Circe's home feels strangely isolated. It's elegant, but empty. Beautiful, yet unsettling. There are almost no guards, no servants walking through the halls, no signs of ordinary life. The silence itself becomes suspicious. This reflects ancient Greek mythology. Circe doesn't rule through armies. She rules through magic. Her greatest weapon isn't power, it's control. Then comes the moment that changes everything. Odysseus sends part of his crew ahead to investigate. At first, nothing seems unusual. They're welcomed inside. Food is prepared, wine is served, music fills the room. Every exhausted sailor finally believes they've found safety. But that's exactly how Circe hunts. She doesn't force people into traps, she invites them. One of the smartest details in this sequence is the feast. If you pay close attention, the food looks almost too perfect. Every table is overflowing, every cup is full, every guest immediately relaxes. In Greek mythology, accepting food from supernatural beings often symbolizes surrendering control. The moment the sailors eat, they unknowingly accept Circe's power over them. It's not just a meal, it's a ritual. Then comes the scene everyone remembers. Circe raises her staff, whispers an incantation, and within moments, the sailors begin transforming. Depending on Nolan's adaptation, the transformation is presented with a mix of practical effects and subtle visual distortion rather than exaggerated fantasy. Instead of focusing on shocking body horror, the camera emphasizes fear, confusion, and helplessness. It's terrifying because the victims remain aware of what's happening. Their bodies change, but their minds still understand the horror unfolding around them. One hidden detail many viewers miss is the symbolism behind the transformation. In Homer's epic, Circe turns men into pigs, but the transformation isn't random. It represents human weakness, greed, gluttony, lack of self-control. The sailors aren't punished because they're evil. They're punished because they immediately surrender to comfort instead of remaining cautious. Nolan seems to preserve this symbolism by making the transformation feel psychological as much as physical. Another fascinating detail involves Odysseus himself. Unlike his crew, he hesitates. He observes. He questions everything. That's one reason he survives. Throughout the entire movie, Odysseus repeatedly succeeds because he thinks before acting. His intelligence becomes his greatest weapon, not his sword, not his strength, his patience. Then comes one of mythology's most important moments. Before confronting Circe, Odysseus encounters the messenger god Hermes. Rather than arriving simply to save the hero, Hermes serves another purpose. He reminds Odysseus that wisdom often comes from listening. Hermes gives Odysseus the magical herb known as moly. At first glance, it looks insignificant, just another plant. But mythology tells us only the gods can obtain it. The herb protects Odysseus from Circe's enchantment. Without it, he would have shared the same fate as his crew. It's a reminder that even the greatest heroes sometimes need divine help. One subtle detail Nolan emphasizes is eye contact. Throughout the Circe sequence, characters constantly stare into one another's eyes. Circe studies every reaction, every hesitation, every emotion. It's almost as though she's reading people before casting her spells. Whether magical or psychological, her greatest power is understanding human desire. When Odysseus finally confronts Circe, something unexpected happens. Instead of another epic battle, the movie slows down. There are no massive action sequences, no armies, no explosions. Instead, it's a conversation, a negotiation, a battle of intelligence. That's because Circe recognizes something different about Odysseus. He cannot be manipulated as everyone else. He resists temptation. He questions appearances. And for perhaps the first time, someone challenges Circe on her own island. One of the most beautiful hidden details comes after the confrontation. Notice how the lighting changes again. Earlier, the palace glowed with warm golden light. But after Circe's deception is revealed, the same palace suddenly feels darker, more isolated, almost haunted. Nothing physically changes, only our understanding changes. Nolan uses lighting to show that truth transforms perception. Perhaps the biggest hidden detail in the entire sequence is what Circe actually represents. She's not merely another obstacle, she's a test. Every major stop on Odysseus' journey challenges a different human weakness. The Cyclops tests courage. The Sirens test temptation through desire. Scylla tests sacrifice, and Circe tests self-control. She offers everything Odysseus wants: comfort, safety, peace, an end to suffering. The only price is forgetting his true purpose, returning home. That theme becomes even more powerful when you remember Penelope. Even though she never appears during this sequence, her presence is felt constantly. Every decision Odysseus makes is influenced by the promise he made years earlier. It's Penelope, not magic, that ultimately protects him. His love becomes stronger than Circe's illusion. Christopher Nolan has always explored memory, time, identity, and perception. The Circe sequence combines all four. Nothing is exactly what it appears to be. Reality constantly shifts. Characters question what they see. And viewers begin wondering whether they're watching magic or psychological manipulation. That's classic Nolan storytelling. He rarely gives simple answers. Instead, he invites audiences to interpret the mystery themselves. In the end, the Circe sequence isn't remembered because of visual effects, or monsters, or action. It's remembered because it asks a timeless question. What happens when the greatest obstacle isn't an enemy, but your own desire to stop fighting? After years of endless suffering, would you still continue your journey home? Or would you choose comfort, even if it meant abandoning everything you once believed in? That's why Circe remains one of the most unforgettable characters in Greek mythology, and why Christopher Nolan's adaptation turns this chapter into one of the emotional and philosophical highlights of the entire film. So, what did you think about the Circe sequence? Did you notice these hidden details the first time you watched it? Or did Nolan hide even more secrets waiting to be discovered? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more of the Odyssey explanations, hidden details, mythology breakdowns, ending explained videos, and Christopher